You think you know Chuck Norris? You know the roundhouse kick. You know the beard, the memes, the jokes about how he doesn't do push-ups. He pushes the earth down. You know the legend. But this is the story of the man. His life, his loves, his faith, his flaws, his impact. And now, his final chapter. The full truth behind the martial artist, the actor, the family man, the cultural icon, and the human being behind one of the most enduring legends in American pop culture. Carlos Ray Norris was born on March 10, 1940, in Ryan, Oklahoma, the oldest of three boys. There was his brother Wieland, who tragically died in Vietnam in 1970, and his brother Aaron. Aaron actually later became a Hollywood stuntman. And then there was Chuck, in a family that knew hardship long before it knew fame. His father, Ray, struggled with alcohol and unstable work, drifting between jobs as a mechanic, truck driver, and bus driver. His mother, Wilma, held the family together through poverty, instability, and constant moves. Chuck grew up shy and secure, and by his own account, not athletic. No one looking at that quiet boy would have predicted the global icon he would become. Chuck Norris would eventually become legendary. When Chuck was 16, his parents divorced. Wilma moved her sons to California, hoping for a fresh start. Chuck wasn't a natural athlete, but he was determined. After graduating high school, he joined the United States Air Force in 1958 and served until 1962, stationed in South Korea as an air policeman at Osan Air Base. He earned the Good Conduct Medal and marksmanship badges during his service. It was there, on foreign soil, that he discovered martial arts, specifically Tang Soo Do. What began as curiosity became discipline, and discipline became identity. He trained relentlessly, earning a 9th-degree black belt in Tang Soo Do and influencing his career-long hybrid style. When he returned to the United States, he opened martial arts schools and began competing. He wasn't just good, he was dominant. Chuck Norris won 6 straight undefeated world professional middleweight karate championships from 1968 to 1974, 183 wins, 10 losses, 2 draws, earned the Triple Crown for most tournament wins in 1969, and was the first voted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame. He earned black belts in Tang Soo Do 9th degree, Taekwondo 8th degree, first Westerner in 1997, Karate 5th degree, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 3rd, Judo, and created his own system, Chun Kuk Do, Universal Way, later Chuck Norris system, where he held a 10th degree black belt. But while the fighter was rising, the man was building a family. In December 1958, Chuck married his high school sweetheart, Diane K. Holchek. They were young. He was 18 and she was 17. They were broke and starting from nothing. Together, they had 2 sons, Mike, who was born in 1962, and then there was Eric, who was born in 1965. During this period in 1962, Chuck fathered a daughter, Dina, who was born in 1965 from an extramarital affair, a fact he later admitted contributed to marital strain. He didn't know about her at the time. She discovered her father's identity and contacted him in 1991 at age 26, and they eventually formed a relationship. It was one of few personal controversies, not tabloid scandal, but human complication he embraced. Diane passed in 2025. Chuck's martial arts success caught Hollywood's attention. His first major break came in 1972, when Bruce Lee cast him as the villain in Way of the Dragon. Their fight scene in the Roman Colosseum became one of the most iconic martial arts sequences ever filmed. It launched Chuck into the world of action cinema. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, he starred in a string of films that defined the era's action genre. Breaker, in 1977. Good Guys Were Black, A Force of One, The Octagon, Lone Wolf McQuade, Missing in Action, Invasion USA, Code of Silence, and The Delta Force. Later hits: Top Dog in 1995, The Expendables 2 in 2012. His on-screen persona was stoic, moral, and unstoppable. A man who didn't need many words because the roundhouse kick spoke for him. Behind the scenes, the pressure of fame, long hours, and admitted infidelity strained his marriage. After more than 30 years together, Chuck and Diane separated in 1988 and divorced in 1989. It was the end of a chapter that began long before Hollywood. In 1998, Chuck married model Gina O'Kelly. Together, they had twins, Dakota and Danny Lee, born in 2001. By then, Chuck was a father of 5. Mike, Eric, Dina, Dakota, and Danny Lee, and a doting grandfather to 7+ grandkids. Family became the center of his life, even as his career continued to evolve. In the 2010s, Chuck and Gina faced a serious crisis when she suffered severe pain and burning after MRI scans that used gadolinium-based contrast agents. Believing the contrast chemicals had poisoned her, they sued several manufacturers in 2017 and became vocal advocates for more patient safety and warnings around these drugs, even as medical regulators publicly debated their claims. Chuck stepped back from his career to care for her full-time. Around the same time, he also fought a separate legal battle over money. In 2018, Chuck sued CBS and Sony for $30 million, alleging he was owed a larger share of profits from Walker, Texas Ranger. The case was eventually resolved quietly, but it showed that even late in life, he was still willing to stand up for what he believed was right, in his contracts and in his family's health. In 1993, Chuck stepped into the role that would define him for a new generation, Cordell Walker in Walker, Texas Ranger. The show ran for 9 seasons from 1993 till 2001, 203 episodes, and became a global hit. He was star, producer, unapologetically moral, blending action with themes of justice, faith, and redemption. For millions of viewers, Walker wasn't just entertainment. He was a symbol of old-school values in a changing world. He earned a Hollywood Walk of Fame star in 1989, an Action Star of the Year award in 1982, and a Golden Boot award in 2001. Then came the internet. In the mid-2000s, Chuck Norris became a meme, the subject of Chuck Norris facts, a viral phenomenon that turned him into a mythical superhuman. Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups. He pushes the earth down. When Chuck Norris enters a room, he doesn't turn the lights on. He turns the dark off. Chuck Norris doesn't read books. He stares them down until he gets the information he wants. Death once had a near Chuck Norris experience. Chuck Norris can divide by 0. Chuck Norris counted to infinity twice. Once a cobra bit Chuck Norris's leg. After 5 days of excruciating pain, the cobra died. Chuck Norris can have both feet on the ground and kick ass at the same time. Somebody once asked Chuck Norris how many push-ups he could do, and he replied, "All of them." Chuck Norris once had a heart attack, his heart lost. And as said by Justin Bieber, when Chuck Norris looks in a mirror, the mirror shatters because no glass gets between Chuck Norris and Chuck Norris. I could go on and on. The jokes were absurd, ridiculous, and everywhere. Chuck embraced the humor, appearing in commercials and interviews that played off the meme. It cemented his status as a pop culture icon for generations who had never seen his movies. But the man behind the meme was more complex. Chuck was outspoken about his Christian faith, writing over 20 books on spirituality, discipline, and personal responsibility. He supported numerous charities, including the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the United Way, VA Vets, Veteran of the Year 2001, and co-founded Kickstart Kids, 1990, martial arts for at-risk youth. Kick Drugs Out of America, rebranded to Kickstart, and United Fighting Arts Federation. He launched C-Force Alkaline Water brand, funding wells in Kenya. His philanthropy was consistent long-term and deeply tied to his belief that discipline and mentorship could change lives. He was also awarded an honorary U.S. Marine back in 2007. Chuck also became politically active, endorsing conservative candidates like Mike Huckabee in 2008 and writing opinion columns for WorldNet Daily. His views sparked controversy, especially on gay marriage in 2008 ads, religion and public life, gun rights, and cultural issues. Supporters praised his honesty. Critics accused him of oversimplifying complex issues. Whether people agreed with him or not, he was never passive. He used his platform to speak about what he believed, even when it drew backlash. As the years passed, Chuck remained active through appearances, books, commercials, and martial arts events. He aged, but the legend around him didn't. The beard turned white, the kick slowed, but the myth stayed strong. He reached 10th degree black belts, ran a Texas ranch with water brand supporting charity, raced powerboats competitively. Then came March 2026. Chuck Norris was in Hawaii, on the island of Kauai, training post-86th birthday. Reports surfaced that he had been hospitalized March 18th. Early updates said he was alert and joking with staff, the kind of detail fans clung to, because it sounded like him. But on March 19th, Thursday, his family released a statement confirming that Chuck Norris had died that morning at age 86. They did not disclose the cause of death. They said he passed suddenly but peacefully, surrounded by family. They asked for privacy. The world reacted instantly. News outlets highlighted his martial arts legacy, his film career, his television success, his philanthropy, and his cultural impact. Fans shared their favorite Chuck Norris facts. But this time the jokes carried a bittersweet edge. Chuck Norris didn't die. He just let the universe catch up. The humor became a way of grieving, a way of saying goodbye to someone who had become larger than life. Celebrities, martial artists, co-stars, and politicians shared tributes. Many spoke about his kindness, his discipline, his generosity, and his unwavering devotion to his family. Others highlighted his influence on martial arts in America, his role in shaping action cinema, and his ability to reinvent himself across generations. His life was not perfect. He made mistakes. He faced criticism, politics, health suits. He lived through loss, Brother Wieland, first marriage, heartbreak, and controversy. But he kept getting back up, not because he was invincible, but because he was determined. Chuck Norris once said that strength isn't about never falling. It's about getting up every time you do. That belief shaped his life, his career, his family, and his legacy. And now, as the world remembers him, the legend and the man stand side by side. Carlos Ray Chuck Norris, martial artist, actor, husband, father, grandfather, believer, icon. A man who spent a lifetime being told he was invincible, and proved something more important. He was real. In the end, legends fade, but the impact of a life well lived never does. Chuck Norris wasn't just a fighter, the actor, or the meme. He was a man who rose from hardship, built himself through discipline, loved fiercely, believed deeply, and left a mark on every life he touched. Today, we remember the strength, the humor, the heart, and the humanity behind the myth. May he rest in paradise, surrounded by the peace he spent a lifetime earning, and may the legacy he built continue to inspire long after the final chapter closes.
Did you know that I can build a snowman out of rain?
If you were a Chuck Norris fan, please throw me a thumb. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one.